Excited. All right, what's good? I'm excited because today we focused on what we call the pre-scale assessment. And you might have been hearing all of the buzz that's been happening. And I've been saying, yo, I got a big announcement, the biggest announcement that I've made over the last 5 years. It's been amazing. And that was actually during that time, was actually around the pandemic time. And that was when I revamped my whole program. I did new courses, new trainings, and I went hard over this new thing. And what I'm excited about now is what it actually takes to grow in scale outside of yourself, right? And so that's really what we're going to be focused on in today's live. So I've been blessed enough to be in the coaching industry for the last decade, been able to help over at this point over 600 plus clients, been able to have our clients get results like 336 leads in 14 days, which we're going to talk more about some of the some of the ways whether you're able and or ready to scale. We're going to talk about that. To having other clients that's having a month where he made 58K, right? We got that. To one of our other clients who's been featured on shout out to Byron. He got featured on Earn Your Leisure. He's been helping people all over the US with his mobile home business and his mobile home coaching business. And and when he came into my program, and I was training him about, okay, how do you put together a system in terms of delivery? He was just getting started with that business. So to see that his clients are making thousands of dollars, to see that he's being featured on major platforms like Earn Your Leisure, which is, the number one, financial literacy business platform out. It goes and it happens to be one of my students. It goes to show the quality of how we structure and how we systematize things. So I'm excited about this new process and this new framework that I'm going to teach y'all. So that's what we focus on today. So what the pre-scale assessment is, I'm gonna go through about 7 different questions. These questions are going to tell you whether you are ready to scale or not. That's what it is. Now, you might say, well, why would you call it pre-scale? Well, the myth is, okay, just scale your business, just grow it, right? And just, spend 10 times the money, make 10 times the cold calls, go to 10 times more events, do more, right? So this is the myth that you're hearing, and this is what these gurus are telling you. What they're forgetting to tell you is that you can grow chaos when you grow attention and you don't have your operations intact. You don't have your business structured. And I've suffered this many times throughout the years. Then all you're doing is scaling chaos, right? You don't want more of a headache. You want a business that's going to grow, that's going to make you more money, that's going to get you more clients, that's going to allow you to get more results. But you don't want to do it at the expense of breaking your back, right? You don't want to break your back doing it. You want to do it where the pressure is off you and the pressure is on the system, because you created leverage in your business. And a lot of people overlook that, or they don't know about it. So today, that's what we're going to be covering. I'm going to go through what we call the pre-scale assessment. Pre-scale is a term that I coined, where it is a way for you to know whether you're ready to scale or not, right? It's gonna let you know, like, okay, I got some things that I need to be able to fix before I just like go nuclear with this. And so that's why I'm excited about what we focused on with the pre-scale. So I'm gonna go through these. So let's just go ahead and dive in. Let's do it, right? So this is gonna tell you whether you're ready or not, right? And all right, so let's go through the pre-scale assessment. Oh, by the way, before we jump in, I'm doing this because I'm doing a master class that's really gonna break this down step by step. This is happening on the 13th. So make sure that you stick around because I'm going to give you the link to the masterclass so you can be able to register and join it. And I'm limiting the seats because everybody who's joined this masterclass, I'm giving them free. I'm answering their questions free specifically on this process. All right, so let's dive in. So the pre-scale assessment. So I'm going to ask you some questions, and I want you to really think about if you have this set up in your business or not. Okay, I really want you to assess and think about that. All right, so let's start with the first question. All right, remember the purpose of this is saying that you have everything that you need and this is working like a well-oiled machine in order for you to be able to grow. So before you scale, you have to check off the boxes of pre-scale. Keep that in mind. So question number one, if you suddenly got twice as many leads, would things still run smoothly or would you feel out of control? If you suddenly got twice as many leads right now, would things still run smoothly at business or would you feel out of control? Think about that. So if you think like, man, if I got leads right now, like I wouldn't even know if I'm able to, follow up with them on time. I wouldn't even I wouldn't know like what to say. I wouldn't know what to text. I wouldn't know what to email. I wouldn't know, I wouldn't know what to do with these people. You know what I mean? So if what's coming to your mind right now is, I don't really have a process or a system of what I would do when leads come in. Guess what? Your system is already broken. You don't even have a system yet, right? So that means even if you got 2, 3, 4 times as many leads right now, you wouldn't even be able to handle it. And you know what that's called? That's called wasting money, right? Because, and that, by the way, and let me make this clear, that doesn't mean you don't get any leads, because especially if you already established and you already getting clients or you already have a lead flow, that doesn't mean you don't do any leads. Like, let me make that clear, especially for my beginners. That doesn't mean that, okay, well, because I can't take twice as many leads, I shouldn't get any leads and make money. No, no, that's don't think like a rookie. But we're saying this is a scale conversation. So that means, okay, maybe you can handle 10 leads each week, 10 leads, maybe 10 appointments. But if you try to scale to 20 appointments a week or 40 appointments per week, then that's when you like, okay, I wouldn't know if I would be able to meet with everybody. I wouldn't know what I would say. I wouldn't know the conversation. I don't really have a sales process on what that will really look like to convert them into paying clients. You see what I'm saying? So what that really reveals is that you don't have a process in order to know what you're going to do what you even when you get leads. Even when you get leads, you wouldn't know what to do. Right? So this is the thing that people find, they look for the motivation, they go online, they're trying to pump themselves up, or they focused on a lot of the wrong things, but you need to be focused on your process of how you actually monetize. That's where your attention and focus needs to go, because I don't care what you read in regards to motivation and inspiration. If you don't put together a process of what happens when you get leads, you cannot expect you to grow. Like, you cannot expect you to grow. So you have to. So that's a very important point. Like that's why we're going through this pre-scale assessment piece of it. All right. So that's the first thing. So right there, you could give yourself a point for if if you don't have a process, or if you don't have a process for what you need to do when you get leads, it's a 0, and then make it a 1 if you do have a process. Okay, and if you want, you can put that in. You can put that in the chat. All right. So now let's go to the next question. Do people usually become clients on their own, or do you have to step in and push through every sale? Do clients usually become clients on their own, or do you have to or do you have to step in and push through the sale? Right? So think about it. So you might say, okay, well, well, I don't really have a process where people are going to sign up on their own. So yeah, I would have to push through every sale. Well, think about it like this. That's another reason for inconsistency, right? If everything that needs to happen from a monetary standpoint has to go through you and only you, what happens when you get sick? What happens when you go on vacation? Right? No clients are flowing through, no money's flowing through. What happens when you got to take care of your mother, your father? What happens when you get home from work and you tired? Or you coach too many clients today, or you decided to go on a work trip and you in another city, another state, another country for a weekend conference. What happens to your business then? Is it growing or is it not growing? You want to have your business in a place where even when you leave and you're not physically working in it, you have that your people are still able to be provided with offers to potentially sign up. And if they're not in a place where they're able to get offers and everything has to flow through you, then guess what? It's not going to be stable. Your business just won't be stable. Okay. All right. So you can put a 0 if you don't have a process for that. Everything has to go through you, and then put a 1 if you have a process where they're automatically going to get offers to convert and buy without you. Let's look at advertising, right? Again, this is what I call the pre-scale assessment. Pre-scale is, are you ready to scale? This is like a readiness assessment. Are you ready to take your business to the next level? And by the way, that don't mean you're a failure if you have these. That just means you want to structure your business in a way that when you do crank up the volume on it, then it's not going to stress you out. And every one of these are places that I've had to figure out throughout the years that I was like, oh, you know what? Like this is why I feel overwhelmed. This is why I'm tired. This is why my clients aren't getting as much results as I want. This is why my lead flow was inconsistent. It's because I didn't have processes and systems, and I was literally the bottleneck. I was the thing that was holding the entire business back because I didn't have some of these other elements in place. So this is why we're going through these questions. All right, let's take it to advertising. Do you have a consistent and predictable way to generate leads? Right? We talked about what happens after you get the leads. Let's talk about what you actually do to get the leads. Do you have a predictable way to do that? And not just, oh yeah, I ran ads before. No, not before. Even if you are running ads now, do you have a predictable way of how you do ads? You might say, I'm not doing ads. Okay. Do you have a predictable way of how you attract leads through social media? Do you have a certain thing that you say? Do you know what to say? I don't know. Do you have a script? Are there certain places you go? Are there certain groups you go in? Like, do you have a process for that? If you don't have a process for it, it's called guessing. It's called, I'm just doing something to figure out what it works. And this is where I was at my first 5 years. This is why my first 5 years in business, it was a struggle. I made like $70,000 my first 5 years in total, not like 70,000 a year. In total, in 5 years, I made like 70 grand. And that was because I didn't really understand what I needed to do in terms of building a business. I was just like out here. I was just like, there was a time where I was just happy to be working on the business. Like, yo, I'm doing something. I'm working in between. I've been full time for the last 5 years now. 2020 is when I figured it out. But it was like, okay, I'm just happy to be doing something. But doing something wasn't the thing that was putting me in position to be able to to be able to structure my business so I could grow it. So when I got more clients, things happen. This is how we get in the results. This is how we get the testimonials, right? This is how things are leveling up. But it happens, and not just for myself too. I'm talking about like these systems. I've worked with 6 and 7 figure brands, and I work with beginners. So this is not like you have to be at a certain special place to implement this stuff. Like you don't have to be a certain niche to implement this. You don't have to be at 6, 7 figures a month, 4 figures a month. You don't have to be at you don't have to have a certain thing already set in your business in order to make this happen. Like literally at every level, you name the income bracket, doesn't matter. You got to have structure. You have to have a process. No matter what phase of the business you're at, you have to have structure, right? So a lot of what I'm referring to is what that looks like in our industry, what that looks like in the coaching business, the expert space. What does that look like for us? What does the pre-scale look like? So that's why we're going through these assessment questions. It's really important to answer that. So put a 0 if you don't have any consistent process of how you generate leads. Not sometimes I go to events and get a couple here. Sometimes I get a couple referrals. Remember, we want stabilization. We want you to be able to predict how many clients you're going to get. We want to be able to predict your business because that's the only way you're going to be able to say, yo, I know I'm making 10K a month, or I know I'm making 50K a month, or I know I'm making 6 or 7 figures a month. Like that. That's the only way you're going to be able to predict it, because you can't really even grow your business if you can't predict what's going to happen. You got to be able to predict it, but you can't predict it if you don't have any systems in place that this is going to happen. When I figured this out, I started running ads and I'm like, oh, you know what? Okay, I know that if I'm running ads at a certain dollar amount, that I'm going to get a certain amount of leads. And then based on me paying attention to the metrics, okay, cool. If I get 100 leads this month, I'm like, okay, cool. Like based on my history, that'll bring me an extra, 5, 6 clients this month. Right. But I can only do that because that's predictable, because I said, okay, I'm tracking a number. So now if I say, okay, cool. Now I want to up it to 200 leads a month. Now I can up it to 300 leads a month. And then I can see the numbers be able to increase. It's the only reason we got hundreds of clients. Like that was literally how I was able to do it. But I wouldn't be able to do it if I was just guessing every day or have it in my head. Because don't get this twisted. Like you could be very established. Like it's people that's at like 40K a month, and they based on they hustle. It's just that they hustle and they grind, but they still don't have a process and procedure and system in place. So that's why I said this is not like income specific. This is, do you have it in place or do you not? Like that's what this is. And if you don't have it in place, you definitely need to be on my webinar, my creator scaling masterclass that I'm doing on the 13th. You definitely need to be there. All right. And I'm going to give you the link to that shortly. All right. Let's go to the next question. Next question. Can your clients get results by following your process, or do they need to succeed when you are very involved? Can your clients get results by following your process, or do they need to succeed when you're very involved? So this is for my people who's ever worked with anybody before. You've got clients. Is your process so airtight? This is in regards to delivery, because I have a framework, right? And I'll be teaching more on the framework on the masterclass. But part of the framework is delivery. Do your clients need you to get results? Or do you have a process that's so airtight that they don't need you? All they need to do is follow the process step by step. You tell them what to do. Like you have the actions they need to take. Like you have everything dialed in that, yo, I could just give you the Bible, metaphorically speaking, and what you do, right? I could give you the 10 commandments and say, yo, go do this. These are the rules of success in order to achieve this outcome. Can you give them that, or do you need to hold their hand every step of the way in order for them to get results? If everything you do, you got to spoon feed them and you got to hold them and you got to You got to keep them accountable every single night, and you got to keep checking on them. And what's going to happen when you can't do that? That's not realistic. That's not realistic. You hand holding people too much. It needs to, the whole purpose of this is it needs to be reliant on the system that you have created. It has to rely on the system you create. The process you have needs to do the heavy lifting. Other than that, you're not going to be able to help people. This is why people stay in the same cycles for a very long time. It's because they don't have a specific system for how they do delivery. Delivery is making good on the products and services. Somebody just spent their hard-earned money to work with you. They trusted you, right? And in a place where there are a lot of people that are providing similar services to you, but there's something that they saw about what you said. There's something that they felt about you. There's something that they resonated with you over other people, right? Like I've had people who've like not worked with big names to work with me. You know, shout out to my guy EC the Hip Hop Preacher. I've had people that was like, yo, you know, EC he's just a little bit too much in my face, da 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 da. And he was like, yo, just, you know, I like the way you train, you know, the way you teach, you know, you're relatable. I could tell you really care. I heard that a lot. People like, yo, I could tell you genuinely really care about helping, and you know, I could tell that you got the experience, and I'm grateful for that. But I would not be living in integrity if I didn't do every single thing that's within my power to make sure that they get closer to the result that I promised them. Period. So that means that you got to do the pre-work up front to make sure that regardless of whether you are involved or not, they have a blueprint, they have a roadmap, they have a structure, they have a system that literally you should be able to go on vacation for a month. They can follow it and they'll be closer to their goal. And if you don't have that, put a 0. If you have it where you're not needed, you can step away. Tell your clients, yeah, follow this process, follow the yellow brick road. Tell them to follow the yellow brick road and you'll get to your destination. If they cannot do that, put a 0. If you do have a process that you can step away and they can do that, put a 1. Next question. By the way, is this helping? You know, go ahead, you know, give me like a love this in the comments if this is really helping. Like I want to make sure that this hits home. What I'm going through right now, I've never taught this in any of my programs. Like any of my programs, any of my clients watching this, they will tell you I've never went through the behind the scenes specifically in this much depth in regards to the structure and the system behind how our programs work, how we make it work. And I've been in these rooms. I've been in mastermind closed door room only where you had to be making minimum at least 6 figures to be in a room. I've been in the rooms. I've spent 5+ figures on programs myself to learn these processes from the top coaches in our industry that are making like $3-4 million a month. I've been in masterminds and in conversations with people that make like $100 million a year. I mean, one-on-one conversations. I'm not even talking like in a crowd. I'm talking about individual. We're having a conversation with each other. I'll tell you what it is. Shout out to Dan Locke. Had a direct $100 million man. Had a direct conversation with Dan Locke, telling me everything that I need to do to scale. And that was probably like 3 years ago. Right? So what I'm telling you is not theory. I'm telling you things that I know the top people in our industry do and that I've been doing and that I've been helping our people with. And now for the first time ever, I'm revealing this to the world. And that's what we're doing on the webinar. All right. So next question. If you took a full week off, would your business keep moving without people needing you? If you took a full week off, would your business still keep moving without needing you? If the answer is no, put a 0. If the answer is yes, put a 1. So that means that, you know, that could mean your clients, right? Meaning like if you took a week off, like your clients wouldn't even like know what to do. right? And that doesn't mean that they wouldn't hit you up. That just means that next time you talk to them, they didn't make any progress. Next time you talk to them, they were confused. They didn't know what to work on next. They didn't know what to do. They didn't know how to show up. They didn't. It was like, I mean, I listen. Everything that I'm mentioning are things that has happened. And by the way, the more that I do it, because remember I said every level you always tighten the screw. So the more you do it, and I've been in this for a decade, I know I'm always going to be tightening the screws. You're always going to be getting better with this stuff, right? So, but with that, are people going to need you? That also includes people that are on your team. That also includes if you got virtual assistants, if you got setters, if you got closers, if you got, client success managers or people in customer service, whoever's on your team, videographers, whoever is on your team, would they not know what to do without you? Or do you already have a process and a system and a plan that's set up that the ball can keep rolling without you? Okay, so that's super key. Next question. This is what we call the pre-scale assessment. Everybody want to talk about scale, but you don't even know if you're ready for scale. You have to be able to pass the pre-scale test, because what scale really means is that you ready to, like, that means you ready to grow like ASAP. Like you ready to just like 10x it. You ready to 10x the whole thing right now. But you could 10x it, but you're just gonna create more of a mess. That's why we're focused on the pre-scale. That's why we're focused on this process. And and if you watching this right now, shout out to you, because there's a lot of people who say, yo, they want change. Yo, I want to do better. They said, this is my year. 2026 is my year, baby. Yeah. They're excited, right? The holidays just passed. They say, they like, yo, this is, I'm going to change. But they haven't even answered basic questions. So how can you change? You getting excited and motivated, but you don't even know specifically what you need to work on. So you feeling good, but then when it comes time to you actually to be consistent, you wonder why you're not consistent. You wonder why you can't predict what's going to happen. You wonder why you feeling overwhelmed trying to work with these clients, or you feeling overwhelmed with like what you should be doing, or what's the next step to focus on, or it's too many tactics and techniques to do. And so that's why this is a critical thing. Next question. We got like 3 more questions. Next question. Are follow-ups and onboarding handled automatically, or is it through memory and manual work to keep things moving? Are follow-ups and onboarding handled automatically, or do you rely on memory and manual work to keep things moving? So let me make this very simple. Let's say now you got a new client. Okay, because anybody can get new clients. Like the point of this is not that you can't hustle your way to get clients and make money. Like I said, you could really hustle your way to 7 figures, honestly. Like you could just hustle your way and not really have no processes, no systems, and you could hustle your way all the way up to $1 million a year. I've seen it. I've been in rooms with people with I've seen it, right? With no real processes, just like they just grind. So let's say you got a client right now, and once they become a client, do you have a process? Do you is the onboarding handled automatically? Do you know specific? Do you even have onboarding? That's one. When somebody becomes a client, is there a system and a process of what happens as soon as they become a client? Or is it okay? Let's just schedule our first call. Or do you have a process? Okay, we're going to do onboarding. You're going to get this document. You're going to get emailed this. You need to fill this form out. Blah, 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 blah. Do you have something like that? If not, put a 0. If you do, put a 1. This is what we talk about when we're saying that you got to have systems to scale, specifically around advertising, conversion, and delivery, which if you notice, that's what these questions are centered around, right? You got to have systems to scale for all of that. Otherwise, you're always going to be the bottleneck in your business. And it's going to be very hard for you to grow. All right, next question. When business picks up, does it feel calmer and more organized or stressful and overwhelming? When business picks up, so let's say now it's picking up, you're getting more clients. Okay, cool. Like, you know, it's doing good. Which, by the way, January is a good month. So if there's any time to really go hard, this is actually the time. This is the time that, like, all the coaches and experts in our industry make the most money. January, ask anybody, especially if they've been in the business for a minute, January is the month because everybody is like, yo, I'm going hard. It's the beginning of the year. So by the way, if you're going to make a change, this month is the month to do it. Like immediately. You need to do it immediately. Make these changes. And some of these is like, you could make some of these changes like within a week or two, right? These are not things, these are not things that, these are not things that it has to be rocket science. You just got to know what to work on, in what order, how to prioritize it, because all tasks are not created equal. So if you're creating a system for these things, like, there's no way you're going to be able to create a system for everything right now. So you got to be able to organize it and prioritize it, which is what we're talking about in the masterclass. But you got to know what that is. So if business picks up and you feel more overwhelmed, if you're like, if I got 5 clients this week, 10 clients this week, like, again, it depends on what level you at. My goal for you is, what if the clientele doubled this week? Whatever that looks like for you under your normal flow. Whatever your normal flow. If it's 0 and you got 5, what would that look like? If you typically get 5 and you got 15, would your system be able to handle that? Would your process be able to handle that? Would you start feeling overwhelmed? I started learning a lot about this when I launched my digital, when I launched my ads agency. And I launched that, we'll be in 2026. I want to say maybe either 2022 or 2023. It was one of those years I launched my ads agency. That was when and I launched that. That was just out of people saying, yo, okay, cool. You teaching me how to generate these leads and how to get clients, but I don't have the time because I'm doing this and this and this, but listen, I don't mind paying you a couple dollars and, you run the ads for me. Cool. No problem. I got you. And so that's how the ads agency came to be in existence. What I didn't realize is that because I didn't have automations in place, I didn't have people that I could delegate to immediately, that when I got a client, okay, cool. My first client was cool that I did it. All right, cool. I'm helping them out. Mind you, I'm editing. Think about everything you have to do when you do ads, right? You got to edit videos. You got to write ads, which at the time, it wasn't even like a chat GPT and none of that, it wasn't none of those. So you got to do that. You got to write ads. You got to set it up. You got to monitor, you got to do the reporting for your clients. Make sure you know what you're spending, the leads coming in. You got to be able to do assessments, have the conversation, ask what to change, do creatives every single month, do the still images, come up with the strategy, help them with the lead magnet for the ads. I mean, when you really think about it, like it's a whole business. That's a whole business in itself. And I was doing that in addition to coaching, right? So because I didn't have a system around that, the problem I started having is the more clients I got, the more work I personally had to do. And I got to a point like, damn, I don't even really know like how much more clients I want to get, because I'm gonna have to limit myself. And you don't ever want to limit your money in business. Like, you don't want to limit your money. But I started to feel more pressure and more overwhelmed because I didn't have a process around this. So and so then now, the videos are starting to come back late. I'm starting to miss deadlines for certain things. I was telling people I wanted to launch ads by a certain date. I was having like my reporting. I wasn't keeping up with the reporting. So like and that caused me to miss alerts. And because I was missing the alerts, I had like, I had clients where I didn't even realize they ads was off for like 3 weeks. So they wasn't even getting leads. Like pulling my hair out. Like, oh my God, like what is going on? This is why I'm so passionate about this. So you gotta have a process and a system around when you get more clients, you don't feel stressful because the work doesn't go on, everything is on you. It's on, you have a process or a system for that. You know what I'm saying? You have and what that means, that could literally mean delegation. You delegate it, which that's a whole process around that you got to be able to do it, and how you hire and all of that stuff, how you train and all of that. These are all things that I'm teaching, but there's a whole process around that. I think the most people that I had on my team at once was like, I want to say 10. So I had a team as big as 10 at one point, right? So, that's around that, or literally, automation, right? There's tech, there's automation, there's things that you can leverage. Obviously, there's AI and automation you can leverage. So, but again, you have to have some type of process around that. All right. Last question. By the way, put a 0 if you will feel more overwhelmed getting 3 times as many clients. Put a 0. Or if your process is so dialed in that when your business picks up, you would get, it's fine. Put a 1. All right. And last question. If your business grew fast, do you know what would break first, or would you have to jump in and fix everything? If your business grew fast, do you know exactly what would break first? Or would you have to jump in and fix everything and try to figure it out and scramble? The most successful companies, businesses, and this is in general, but I've seen a lot, especially within our space, conversations, programs I was in, etc. These are people that they can diagnose their own business. These are people that, because their process is so dialed in and what they're tracking is so dialed in, that if something stopped working, or, because in business, you'll have ebbs and flows. You'll have ups and downs. Every business, I don't care how long the business has been in, every month is not going to be this exact same. Every month is not going to be more. It's not going to be more money, depending on the market conditions change. You got CEOs that get kicked out, or CEOs that do a bad job. I forgot. A lot of companies go through it. You know what I mean? I think Starbucks went through a situation recently. It's a few companies, right? People downsizing, right? Why do you think people lay off? Why do you think these companies, Amazon, Apple, why do you think these companies lay off? You think they laying people off because they got all of this flow of money coming in and they're doing so amazing? They got to lay people off because their expenses is too high, right? They're probably in the red. You know what I'm saying? There's a famous video about Jeff Bezos, and I don't know how long ago it was. I want to say, I don't know, let's just say 5 years ago. He was interviewed, and in the interviewer said, you're like one of the top, if not the top company in the world. He said, but you famously say that you're in the red. He said, how is that possible? And you're bringing in, all of these hundreds of billions of dollars. He was like, well, what people don't realize is that's actually common amongst, companies, is that, at a certain point, we'll be above. But he said, regardless that the business is this big, is just, that's typical of businesses this size. So imagine making billions, tens of billions, or hundreds of billions and still being in the red. See what I'm saying? So that's why I said it doesn't matter what level is at. You got to have the systems and the processes for it. So if you would not know what to fix, and you will be scrambling trying to figure out, well, what's going to happen? Wait, is it something with the ads? And then now you're trying to figure out what you need to do with ads, or what you need to do with to attract people organically, or what you need to do with the content. Oh, okay. Oh, I need to go do this. And then you're pulling your hair out here. Okay, my conversion, I don't really know what to do. I don't know why people aren't signing up. I don't know why I'm not getting the right people. What's going on with this? Oh my God, my delivery. Okay, my clients. Okay, they're not getting back to me. They're not making results. They're not getting results. They come coming in. I'm not really sure what to do. Think about that. Think about how chaotic, how overwhelming that is. And is that going to encourage you to want to scale or not? If you having issues with the current clients, is that going to encourage you to want to scale or not? So that's the importance of this pre-scale assessment that we went through today. Like this was just a wake-up call for you to say, yo, get your head out of just the, okay, I need to feel good. Like work on the business. Like create leverage in the business. That is what our job is. Our job, you're not just a coach. You're also a CEO. And to truly be and perform in the function of a CEO, as a pure CEO, you have to start buying your way out of positions. You're not going to always be able to reach out and be the setter. You're not always going to be shooting and setting up the content for your events or shooting the content. You're not always going to be the customer success. You're not always going to be the person doing the finances. You're not always going to be the only coach, but the only way you're going to get yourself out of those positions is if you create a structure and a process around it that you know works like clockwork, so you could continue to actually elevate and truly perform the function of the, as the head person of the business. So, but you got to be on it, and you actually have to be creating more leverage every day. So that's always what my job is. That is my number one priority this year, is to continue to create more leverage in my business, because I know the more leverage I create, the more things that I don't have to do, and the easier I can grow the business without it all having to fall on my shoulders. And the easier it will be, and the more fun it will be. Make sense? All right. So with that being said, I'm glad that y'all really took a lot away. I'm going to drop the link. If this is like an interesting conversation for you, and anything that I mentioned in this conversation was intriguing, if anything I mentioned to you today was an eye opener, I'm going to encourage you to, I just posted the link. I'm going to encourage you to register for the Creator Scaling Masterclass that I have coming up. I got a lot of fun things that I'm doing around that. This is still serving my coaches, obviously, but this is from a brand new angle that I've never taught, trained on, and I spent a lot of money on behind the scenes for years learning this particular piece. I've been pretty good with, I've been naturally good. People say, yo, you got the gift of gab. I've been naturally good pretty much with communicating, but the structure and how to make the business efficient and effective enough to be able to grow is the thing that I really have to understand. What are people doing? What are people doing from an attraction perspective, from a conversion perspective, and from a delivery perspective? What are people really doing, and how does this work? So there you go. So I'm glad that y'all took a lot away from it. Again, that's the link that's there inside of the school group. I'm gonna post the link inside of the link will be in a comment. So as soon as this is done, we're gonna do in the comments. And again, you don't have to be the smartest. You don't have to be, this is not a certain niche related thing. You don't have to be at a certain amount of money to follow this process. You don't have to be from a certain part of the country to follow this process. You don't have to have certain things set up. So don't give yourself this, oh, I'm not ready. Can you get on a call with somebody and help them? That's literally what coaching is. Like if you at least know what you can help somebody with, you can put a process around everything else. You can put a process around it. You can put a system around it. So this is not system dependent. You're not too big for this. You're not too sophisticated for this. This is not, this is not what you're going to learn is not a tactical thing. Like I'm not getting on this webinar and I'm teaching you this is the tactic to do that. Because at the end of the day, I really don't care which tactics you use. I'm going to give you tactics like, hey, yo, this is specifically how you advertise. or this is how you convert. I can give you tactics, but at the end of the day, that's why I said this is different than anything that I've ever taught, because this is like this is more infrastructure. This is more structural. This is more systematic. That's what this is. So if your thing is you like doing speaking engagements, okay, we creating process and systems around how you formulate that, how you formulate you getting you building a business through speaking. If your thing is live events, okay, we formulate in the system around how you don't be the bottleneck for doing live events, right? If it's cold calling, if it's ads, if it's however, how, like whichever way you want to do it, it's still that's what I said as tactical. So it doesn't matter the method you're using, because at the end of the day, we're building the infrastructure, and the infrastructure is going to support any tactic or any method that you want to use. So so I just posted the link. So make sure that you make sure, and I'll go back after this. If you don't see it there, I'll go back and post the link to make sure that you register for this webinar. If you need to, if you need to watch this particular live, watch it again, watch this a couple of times. You might want to save it. You might even want to download it, because I think after a month, Facebook is going to remove it, or it might still be in the school. This might be, I might just remove it, to be honest with you. But at the end of the day, like, watch this a few times if you need to. Other than that, register for this masterclass, because I'm going to be revealing things, and I'm going to be breaking down in stages how to make this happen. Slow motion is better than no motion. Let's work.